Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar concerning the integration of DocuSign. So thank you very much to be here. I will wait just a little bit to wait the last person that are registered for this event. So during this time, let me introduce myself. I am Maxence. Some of you already know me. I'm working as consultant for Venki, and I'm specialized on the solution of HEFLO. Today, the subject of this webinar will be the integration of DocuSign into HEFLO. The goal of this presentation is to show you how to use this integration on your own environment of HEFLO, and we will do several study cases to send a document through DocuSign to be signed by your different different recipient. So it's this that we will see today. This webinar is only about the DocuSign feature. So if you need more information, or if you have any question about automation in general on HEFLO, you can follow this channel of webinar, because we are doing one time each 15 days a session in Portuguese, and one time each 15 days a session in English each Wednesday, to reply to the different user questions concerning the automation. And if you want to have more information concerning HEFLO, the different feature or different paid plan, I invite you to contact our sales department, in particular Rodrigo Jerez. So I will starting already to share my screen. I hope that you can see my screen right now. So for today, we will use an environment of HEFLO to present this feature. So as I said before, the first part is to make a connection between your DocuSign account that you are using. For example, here I will connect after myself, but I'm using a DocuSign account for this demonstration. And you have to make this integration between the DocuSign account and your own environment HEFLO. So to do this, you need to access the Manage Environment section and the Manage Environment page. And in this page, you will see a new button here, Document Signature. Once you click on this button, you will access a new window. In this window, it's here you will be able, for one environment, to make several connections and integration with different DocuSign accounts. For example, here I have already one DocuSign integration, okay, that's already done. I put the name DocuSign integration, and this name is important because we will see it several times during the process configuration later during this presentation. To create an integration, it's really simple. First of all, you need to select a signature provider, just in case that one day in the future we'll provide other provider than DocuSign. We choose DocuSign and we click on the plus icon. From that moment, you will need, first of all, to put a name of this integration. This is the name that is here and will be visible after during your process configuration. So let me go back here. Okay, and once you put the name, you will have to put and find in your DocuSign account several information concerning the integration key, the user ID, the account, and a private key. Okay, and here, important information. You have two tabs to fill in. One of development and one in production. What does it mean? In fact, if you work with DocuSign, maybe you already know that, but for their application and API integration keys and all this kind of integration in their side, they are splitting their environment in two things, two parts. They are a production part where you have your paid plan, okay, and they have a development part, a development account. So they split in two. And so in HEFLO, to be able to do full integration, we need to put the information of the development account from DocuSign and the information of production account of DocuSign. So just to show you quickly, I am in DocuSign, I will log in. So it will be my DocuSign account of production, and I will have some information. So let me just log in into my account. So in this account, I will have some information that I have to provide in my production tab, okay? And I will have also some information that I will need to reach from my developer account. So here I'll show you quickly that when you go to the app and keys section, you have some information here that you have to provide. And here you see you cannot create integration key in production. So you have to do this work in the developer account. I will access the developer account. And an important information that I will just tell you just after. Just let me connect myself. Okay, log in. But the thing is, the important information that you have to keep in mind today is that there is two kinds of environment. There is the production environment of DocuSign and the developer one, where you will have to do most of the time the integration work and the configuration. So here I will have several tabs, and the last one is concerning my DocuSign developer account with other information. And all this information has to be filled in these two tabs. In parallel, I think that someone will send in the chat part a documentation that will explain you step by step how you can create a DocuSign account, how to create a developer DocuSign account, and where to find this different information to be able to provide this information and to do this integration. Once you provide all this information here, you will have to click on this button, which is not available for the moment because all the fields are empty. But once you will click here, HEFLO will send a message to your account of DocuSign to consent and make an agreement that we can use the data from your DocuSign account and connect it to your HEFLO account. This is exactly what I did for this integration. And now, for example, here you have some information, and I already click into consent in development and consent in production. So once you did this job, a new connector will be available in the process editor for task message type of send and receive behavior, and for the message event receive event, which has the catch behavior. So now let's do some study case to show you how we can use this integration. Now that it's done, how we can use this all the information from your DocuSign account in your process automation configuration. Let's go. So for this, I will go to the process editor, and I already prepared some different study case for today. I prepared 4 processes just to illustrate some study case, classical study case that we can use using the DocuSign integration. I will start by this one, create and send template. Okay, so first of all, let me explain a little bit the context and the goal of this process. You will have a process which will be triggered manually, and once you trigger it, you want that HEFLO create and send a message. What does it mean? You want that HEFLO create a document and send it to be signed. And in this first example, what we will want to do is that HEFLO is able to send a document that is hosted in your DocuSign account. So for example, let me go here in my DocuSign account. I have what the DocuSign called that template, which could be means document in a common language. And here in my document, Yeah, I have several templates. And for my example, I want that HEFLO send to my recipient the template number 1 that is hosted in my DocuSign account, okay? And I want that is sent automatically to those 2 recipients that are automatically filled in my DocuSign account, who are employee and employer. All the data that you will see today are fake data. It's just the goal is to show you the logic of this integration feature. So my goal here is that HEFLO is able to send the document hosted by DocuSign to 2 recipients, the 2 recipients that are set up in DocuSign. After this document is sent, I want that my work item, my process, stopped at this task until something happened in this document, okay? So, for example, here, several actions can be done in this document. And in fact, we want to choose a path here in function of what is happening in this document. For example, if the document is signed by all the recipients, I want it to take the path completely. And for example, if one of the 2 recipients declined the signature of the document, I want it to take the path of the declined one. And for example, there is a third exit, which is voided. What does it mean? Voided is like, for example, flag cancel for other reason that a decline. For example, you can set up a deadline to sign a document of 1 week. If the deadline overpassed this week, so it will take automatically this path. And after, what I want in this task, one of the third tasks, I want that the process able to retrieve the status of the document and the document itself signed or declined, for example. So this is the goal of our process that we want to show right now. So now we have to configure it, now that we understand the logic behind it. So the first thing to set up will be these 2 tasks. As I said before, once we did the integration, a new connector is available for task of send and receive message and for message event, okay? So here, if we click on the task and go to the priorities and in the execution part, we can see a new connector, document signature. Yeah, in fact, it's true. Normally, if you know already HEFLO, you know that for message task, we have the mail connector, notification, process message, etc. Now we have the document signature. And after the connector, we have to choose an operation. Here, for the send behavior, we will have 3 kinds of operation. We will have the create, the send, and one that is composed of the 2 in the same time. So what does it mean? I will give you an example. In my case, this task will create the document and send it automatically. In fact, in DocuSign, they have a term for this. They call that an envelope. Why an envelope? Because it can host more than 1 document. So they call this an envelope. So here I will take this term of envelope a lot of time during this presentation. So here the goal is to create the envelope, which will be composed of a document, in my case a template from DocuSign, and this envelope will be sent in a second phase of this task directly to the recipient. But sometimes, and we will see that in our last example, it's important for you to split this task in 2 things, in 2 steps. The first step, you create the document, and the second, you send. And between these two steps, you will want maybe to add a task of verification of the document or even update the document. But in my case, for the first element, we will put the create and send task in same time. After, you have to connect your connector to a DocuSign integration account, which was the first step that we did of this presentation. Here I have only one because I have only one integration registered with this HEFLO environment. Okay, once you did that, you will need to configure your envelope. For sure, we now know we need to configure what will be sent, for who it will be sent, and moreover, we can put this in a particular message that will be received by email. So for this, you will have to do this for the development and the production. What does it mean? You remember just before, we were saying that DocuSign is split into a developer account and a production account, okay? So to make it simple, the developer account of DocuSign is linked to the test work item. You know, the work item that you do when you click right in the process editor. And the production account of DocuSign is linked to the work item that will be performed once the process is published in automation. So what does it mean? That means that if you want only to do some trial to test the feature, you can only put the development configuration. But once everything is okay here and you want to publish in production, you will need to do all the configuration that I will do in the development part into the production one, okay? This is a very important information. So I will click in the development, and here I have to configure my envelope, my task. So to configure this task, I have to do 3 elements. I have to configure my envelope, to configure my recipients, and to configure a message that will be sent by email to alert the recipient, in fact, that he has something to sign. So concerning the envelope, you have to put a name, okay, that will be retrieved in the information of the work item. And after, you have to choose between 2 elements. Here, you can choose a template that is hosted in your DocuSign account. So in my case, I am in the development tab, so it's in my developer account. So here, for example, I have 12 templates. If I go back to my DocuSign account, you will see that I have also 12 templates. So you have the possibility to choose more than one. That's why they call that an envelope, because in this envelope you can send more than one document, and all this document has to be signed to validate the envelope. So just for my example, I will just take one, the template number 1. And you have also the possibility to add an external document of DocuSign. This will be the example that we will see just after this one. So for this, you will need to associate a field of upload field type from a form that is associated to your process. And you have the possibility to do an envelope composed of the 2 kind of documents, a template and an external document. Okay. And here you have the possibility to store in the different folder associated to your DocuSign account. For example, here in the manage part of your DocuSign account, when you receive a document to sign in your document account, you have the possibility to store them in different folders that you create. These folders are also available here for you to be able to send them directly in the folders that interested you. For my case, I will not put one. So here I create my first envelope. Great. I will use the template number 1. And here in the recipient part, as you can see, well, first I have to tell you that I already set up this configuration to do this presentation. But automatically, HEFLO will bring you this information from DocuSign, because we take the template and we take also the recipients of this template that are configured in DocuSign. So if you remember good, I have the recipient employee and employer. Let's go back to our template number 1. Employee, employer. Great. They are here. And now the only thing that you will have to do here is to fill in the name and the email of the employee and the name and the email of the employer. We will see just after that it's possible instead to put fixed value, like here bill and we are HEFLO+bill@gmail.com, to put dynamic content, like you are in your process, you are in a form, and you fill in the name of someone or the email of someone, and you want to take this information to send the document to this person. We will be able to do that also. Okay, and in the third part, you can put a message that will be received by the recipient by email. And in addition of this message, common message, you have the possibility to put a private message for one or several recipients that only he himself will be able to see and read it in his email. And you have also the possibility to put an access code, which means, for example, you want that for him to be able to access the document, he has to fill in, I don't know, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, he has to put this code to be able to read the document. Okay, once you did this part, you click on confirm, okay, and the configuration is done. The configuration of your envelope is done and will be sent here, in my case, template 1 to my two recipients, Bill and Marv. So now, second step, we have to configure the await task. Great. So here, same thing, connector, document signature. Here, only one operation is existing that we are await. We need to await the envelope. I will talk about these two elements just after. So here, you have to await an envelope, but you have to link it to the envelope that has been sent previously. For sure, here it's easy because we have only one connection, but you have to keep in mind that in a process, we have the possibility to create several send tasks that will send different envelopes, you know. So it's really important here that you link it to the correct, the corresponding creating and sending task. So in my case, it's link it to the create and send message task, which is this one. To link, it's easy. You click on the chain icon, you choose the element, and you click confirm. It's exactly like the same methodology of a lot of elements of process message, for example, in HEFLO. It follows the same logics. So now that we link this await task to my creation and send task, what will happen in my process? It will unlock the process execution once this task will receive a modification of the status of the envelope. So what does it mean, the status of the envelope? Is exactly what I said before with the completed, voided, and declined path. So you will have the possibility to retrieve this information concerning the status of the field. Of the envelope. And you can choose a field that will retrieve this information. It has to be a text type field. So here I will choose the envelope status. That is one of the fields that will be existing in the form that I showed you previously. And you can do exactly the same thing with the file that will be signed or declined. You can retrieve it inside of a field of upload field type. And exactly what I did here, okay? And we can find these fields in the form after the task, which means that when I will arrive at this task, I'm waiting to have here the information of the status already filled in and the document signed, for example, already here in this field. Okay, so here, if I am able to retrieve the information concerning the status of the envelope, and you can have the information of this different status that I explained just before, completed, signed by everybody, declined by at least 1% of the recipient, and voided is you remember the cancellation by a time, for example, a deadline, reason. Okay. As we retrieve this information, we can use this information to create business rule. And here, an important point. I think if you need more information about how to create business rule, we have documentation for this. But the important point here, their status are retrieved from the DocuSign account. And the DocuSign is everything in English, okay? So I say that because we have people who are in different parts of the world during this webinar. The business rule has to be written in English, even if you write, for example, in Portuguese normally, okay? So here, I automate my gateway I put as automatic, and for each exit path I created a business rule. So here you see I retrieve, well, here it's transparent because everything is in English, but just imagine that here it was in Portuguese, and here also you have to put completed as well here in English. Okay, so here I take back the field that I used to retrieve the status, and I want that we take the path if the status is completed. Okay, and exactly the same thing with the status voided, and the same thing for the status declined. Okay, and after I perform the task, and let's say that I finish the process. Okay, great. Now that we finish the configuration of the process, let's do a test work item. So I do my test work item. Okay, the first task, which was the create and send message, is transparent. For sure, the system will go in your search the information into your DocuSign developer account, because it's a test work item, and be able to send the document to sign to the two recipients. And so, important information here. Here, you have the possibility to see information about the envelope, the name, and what is happening right now. So here you can see that the status is pending, and we are waiting for the signature of Bill and Mary. Okay. For the moment, it's sent only for Bill, because I choose in my template to send first to Bill, and after that it's signed by Bill, it can be signed by Mary. So that's why you can see that it's only information of the sent date time for Bill. So you have also the possibility to see this kind of information when you are locked in the await task. Okay. So now what I will do, I will log in to the email that Mary and Bill received the email and sign the document. So first of all, let me close some window. Okay. Okay, great. Here I received the email. Let me close it. You see, it's sent to Bill. Okay, and we can find back our message that we put to recipient to receive the email. So I click here, and I will just need to follow the steps of DocuSign. So here I agree. Okay, and now I have to sign where DocuSign, the template, asks me to sign. So we'll click here. It retrieves the information that HEFLO put. I put Bill, but if the person wants to update this information, he can. So for my example, I will put Bill Evans. Okay, I put my initial here. I finish, and Bill did this part. He has nothing else to do. No thanks. Okay. Okay. And so now we'll have to wait a little bit that the system updates the status of the different envelope. But the system, now that Bill signed the first document, he will send this document to Mary for her to be signed. For the example of today, I'm using the same email box, okay, to do this kind of exercise. But I think you understand the logic that it will send in the mailbox associated to the recipient. So let me just refresh the work item. Okay, so if we wait just a little bit more, you will see that this email will be sent also to Mary, and it will actualize, updates the status for Bill. Let me check again one time. Not yet. So here, for example, we're in the Mary, okay, and she received also the email. Let me check just one last time. Okay, yes, you see, now the status of the envelope changed for Bill. Okay, it's now with the status complete, and you have the date time when he complete and sign the document. And now it's the time to Mary to sign this document. So let's go. We click on the link. I accept, continue. And here I just need to sign here. So here I will put her name also, Mary Davis. Okay, I put my initial, finish. Great. We sign our first document. Thanks. Let's go back here. Now, what will happen? As the status will change in DocuSign, the system will be able to understand this, and it will automatically go forward in the process following the path that corresponds to the status. And it's exactly what happened right now in the screen. You see, both of the users signed the document. So the status is now complete. And is this, it took the exit flow of the gateway of the completed. And we can see that it retrieved this information in the field. And here in this one, if I click here, you will be able to see the document signed by both users. Great. Now let's talk about another example. I think it's this one. Yeah. Same logic that I present you before, but now this time I don't want to send a document hosted in my DocuSign account. I want to send an external document, something that I don't want to necessarily associate it to my DocuSign account. So how can we do that? For this, we will need to add a task before the creation and sending task. This task of, I call it upload document. I will need to put a field of upload file type. Upload file type. Yeah, sorry. And in my example here, I want to choose myself the recipient. Okay, let's imagine in my context here, I just send a document to one guy and I want this guy sent. But for each work item, it will be someone different. And I want that I put the email address of this person in this field. So let's see how we can use this information here in my task. So here, if you understood good, we have the connector, the operation create and send, the account, and I do the development. I remember you something. In my previous example, we were stopped in the development part. If I remember good, I go back here. I will stop in the development part. I didn't do the production. But if I wanted to put in production the automation of this process, I need to fill in all the information of my development into the production account. So be careful when you do this kind of thing to, in particular in your developer account and production account of DocuSign, to use the same template, in particular for the template case. So let's go back to my create and send document. I click here, development. Okay, this time I didn't choose a template. I choose the field of upload field type that was used in my first form. So upload one, great, okay. And here in my recipient part, so here in my recipient part, okay, normally it's empty, okay, but as I said before, I already prepared the configuration to be able to do the presentation. So you have to put a role. This role, you can put any name you want, but it's important for something that I will show you after. The value, you have to put signer. It will be someone that will sign. You can put a routing order. It will follow the logic that I did just before. Like you send first for recipient 1, for example, and after to recipient number 2. Otherwise, it will send the document to all the recipients at the same time. The name, I will put name test 1 for my example. And here, this is the important thing. Here you see, I choose recipient 1 is the field. Because I click on these 2 arrows. For example, here, I will not do to this one, but here, if I do this, you see, I can choose a field. So like that, HEFLO gives you the possibility to choose fixed information or information from a work item. So I click confirm, I set up a message. Okay. So now let's do, let me check if everything is setting up. Okay, great. Here automatic, and here I have my business rule. So it should be okay. Let's do a test. I will start a work item. Here I upload my document. Okay, I will take this first one, document example. Okay, here I put the email address, gmail.com, and it will send to this email address. So okay, now the creation and send task is completely transparent. Great. And now if you go here and so it's here, I received the document. Great. Review document. I agree. And I signed my document. Okay. So here you have to drag and drop the signature and choose the place where you have to sign it. I will take this information. Okay. I sign, I finish. Okay, no thanks. Okay, and automatically the system will advance the work item and take the completed path. So let's wait just a bit. And if you see what happened, I will open the document. You will ask me maybe a question. Okay, the final user, the recipient decided to sign here. But let's imagine it's not precisely here you want to sign. Or it could be worse, to sign here, for example. So it doesn't, for you, validate the document. Is it a possibility to, make understand DocuSign that the guy, the recipient, has to sign exactly here? The reply is yes. There is this possibility. For this, you will need to use what we call an anchor. So you will need to use a document and put an information, and this information is the one about the role of the recipient. That's why it's something important to keep in mind. There is a documentation that will be available in our knowledge base to show you step by step easily how you can put this kind of anchor in a document. But I can show you an example. Here, let's do another example. So here I choose my document. So I create two documents for this example. So document example anchor 1. Okay. And I will show you how it looks. Here, at the end of my document, I put this information. **, the name of the role, okay, hashtag sign here, and **. From that moment, this code will have a signification for DocuSign, and you will see. Let's go forward in the process. Okay, next. Yes. So receive an email. Okay. Review the document. I agree. And as you can see, it forced me to sign here. You see, I can't sign here, I can't sign here. I have to sign here. So I sign. Okay, great, finish. And now, once again, the work item will follow the path of the completed one. Great. But now you will tell me something else, I guess. that this it's nice to be able to obligate the recipient to sign here, but as you will see, the signature will be above the code that was writing to force this behavior. You see, is it a possibility to not display the signer one hashtag sign here? Yes. In fact, it's really easy. You just need to write it in the color of the background. So I will show you another example where I write it in white, so it's invisible for the recipient, and at the same time, it will be obligated to sign it. So let's do another work item just to show you. We are in email.com. Okay. Okay. Just to show you the document. Okay. Here you see nothing, but at the same time there is something writing in white here. So check my document. And you see, the system, DocuSign understood that I need to sign here. Okay, I finish. And the process, once again, will advance automatically. Okay. So, yeah, and I will just wait to show you that the document will be visible without the anchor. And after we will see a third example of what we can do with DocuSign. Okay. To show you. Okay, you can see, and we don't see the anchor. Okay, okay, great. Now let's talk about another example. I think you know, but it's possible thanks to HEFLO to, when you fill in some information, for example here, a product, a quantity, and a delivery date, to automatically fill this information into a personalized report. So for my example here, I have a report 1, okay. I just will open you to show how it is, but I put a name of the column, product, quantity, delivery date, and I want to retrieve the information of the product quantity, and the delivery date. So in the preview, let me put, it will now have data because it's not the number of the work item, but I can generate a report with this kind of information. Okay. If you need more information about this report, we have some documentation in our knowledge base for this. Let's go back to the test, the process. Sorry. So here, instead of sending an external document to DocuSign, I want to send a report that is generated by the execution of the work item. So how to do that? Here, let's imagine the following. You fill in the product, the quantity, and the delivery date, okay? And by clicking to this button, I will be able to generate the report that I just showed you and to insert it automatically in this field, which is the field that is used, as you saw just before, to send the envelope to DocuSign. So how you can do that? For this, you can click on this kind of button, add a button, and after you can configure it, okay? Which is I did in this one in the top. Here I put the option show report, and I choose the report that I create, report number 1. And from that moment, when you will execute a work item, you will be able to attach this attachment, found this report, sorry, to this upload field. Let's do an example. Just let me wait, check here, sorry, for the recipient type. Yeah, it's a fixed one, so perfect. Okay, so let's do a test. Okay, so here I will put A, I will put 1. In fact, there is no importance what I put, because another information, and this is important, it doesn't retrieve the information of test work item. It will retrieve only the information of production work item. So the document that I will send for the example will be empty, but that's normal. So I click here, and from that moment, it will open the information of normally. So if it was in production, I will have the information that I filled in, and you click in attach, and from that moment, HEFLO will put an attachment this document to the field. And if you have more than one field of this type, you will have to choose in which field you want to send document, in which field you want to attach this document. Sorry. I click next, and from that moment, HEFLO will send this document to the recipient for him to sign it. So for the example, so I go here, I find my document, even if it's empty, it's just to show you the logic or behind. So I click OK, and you see I have the report that I just did, and I put my signature here, and I sign. OK, finish. And from that moment, once again, the process will continue its way. And you will be able also here to find back the report that was generated and signed it by the recipient. Yes, here you can see the signature. Perfect. Now let's talk about the last example for today, for this presentation, which will be this one. So let me put a little bit, yes, like this. Yeah, that's great. So this part, the first one, is the same that we see in the second example. I will insert an external document. This part is exactly the same one that all the examples that we saw, until now. We received the document and it shows a path. But here, in the middle, there is something different. In fact, if you observe correctly this process, we split the creation and sending task into two tasks, a creation one and a send one. As you can see, both of them are with a send message type task. Okay, great. So why we did that? Because we want that once the envelope is created with the document or the multiple document, that the user check if this document is really the one that you want to send. Okay, and we could do for the recipient also, is really the recipient you want to send. And if it's not correct, we could go to update the document, in our case it's only the document, to recreate an envelope and send this time the good envelope. Okay, so the goal here is to create an envelope, check it before to send, to avoid to send something that you don't want to be signed by the recipient. So now how we configure it? In fact, it's really simple. The create operation is following the same rule of configuration of the create and send element. So you will need to configure the envelope, configure the recipient, configure the message. Okay, and the send task is following, in fact, the send operation is following a little bit the same logic of the reception task. Why? Because in fact, once you created an envelope, you have to link the send task to this creation envelope, because you have to know which envelope you will have to send. Okay, and for who, and all this information are linked to the configuration of the creation task. Okay, so to do simple here, this task of the send has to be linked to the creation one, and the await task has to be linked to the send task. So here, if we check the send task, you see that it's linked to the create message, and the await, it's linked to the send message. So perfect. Now let's do a test. Let me choose a document. So for my example, I put this one. Okay, perfect. So at .com. And I click next. So this time, instead of sending already this document, it will just create the envelope. So that means that the envelope will be in a draft status, if I can say like that. So here, something interesting. Here, imagine you want to check your document. So you go to the screen that we already saw it, and you click now in the preview button. Here you have the possibility to see a preview documentation that will be in the future sent. So let's imagine that for my example, I don't like because here there is no for my example, there is no the anchor visible. Let's say this for my example. So you leave it, okay, and I will say, should we update the document? Yes. So now I will do a loop to come back to my creation task. And here I can see the document. If you want just to add a new document, you just need to click here, okay? But if you want to switch the document, you need to remove first the document and choose the other document. So this time I will do with the, well, anyway, it's not important, with the anchor. Okay, I click next. And this time, when it will recreate another envelope, and I will show you something interesting. Here, in the document signature feature, you have the possibility to see the different version of the envelope. You see, it's the same envelope because it is the same task, okay? If it was different tasks, you will have different tab here to see the different status of the different envelope. But as here it's the same task, you have the possibility to see the version of the envelope. So the one of 1153, for example, is the one that is voided because I can't sell it myself. And the new one is the new one that is in draft mode. So if I click here, for example, I will be able to rewatch this document. And this time for me, it is okay for this document. So I will proceed with the process. So I will say, no, we don't need to update the document. And after, it will send this document to the recipient, and we can go until the end as we did until now. Let me go to the process. Agree. And this time, just for the example, I don't think it's the correct one. But yeah, maybe. Okay. So I would say that I decline to sign. Okay. So test. I'm just not sure it's the last document that I sent. But anyway, I think you understood the logic until now. I wanted to decline just to show you the path that could be taken, because until now we just show the signed one. Just let me check, review the document. Let's be this one. Yeah, let's be okay. Yeah, you see, it was the good one. So everything is okay. You see, it's declined. The document is declined. If you check it, you will see the document without any signature. So perfect, great. So it's the different example that I wanted to show you today, how we can use the integration of DocuSign into your process automation configuration. Now to conclude, I will want to show you how we can follow all this document signature pendings or changements. For this, we will need to use some widgets that you can add in different pages in HEFLO. And we will need to use these two kind of widgets, the recent items and the methods. So here, for example, I will put the method and I will edit it. I will create a new one. In the query, you will see a new query, which is pending document signature. So here, this widget will be able to show you all the pending signatures for the work item in production. And you can restrict them for different process. You can restrict what the connected user will be able to see. You can also restrict for deadline. You can, if you don't put nothing, it will show you all the deadline. Otherwise, you can put for a deadline that you want. If you want to put for 3 days or anywhere, you put the title, okay? And from that moment, the user will be able to see the method as it works here. And when he will click, he will be able to see the work item constant. And there is another one, which is, as I said, the recent items change. So if you click here in the query, you have the possibility to see the recently changed signatures. It's a little bit different than the pending one, because here it's each change of status. You will have the recent one that will be displayed. So you, as the one before, you can restrict this for different process. Also for you can restrict what the connected user will be able to see. And you can put a maximum amount of the different elements that will be displayed. And you can put also the information of the recipient. Okay. And once the user will click on the element, it will be redirected to the concerned work item. I guess I arrived to the end of this presentation. I hope, guys, you enjoyed the content and you learned new things about this configuration. I will come back to the screen of the webinar. I will stop to share my screen, and let me check if we have different question. If we don't have a question, just before I check, I check all the questions, just to let you know that you have the possibility to rewatch this webinar that we did today. I guess we will maybe display it in our different channel on HEFLO. And if you need any information, functional information, you know that you can reach out to him in the chat tool if you have a paid plan with us. Otherwise, as I said before, we have our different webinar each 15 days to reply for the different questions of our different users. And also, if you need any information about this feature, feel free to contact Rodrigo Jerez, who is a responsible of the sales department. So let me check in the chat if we have any question. Don't hesitate. Yeah, and in the chat, if you rewatch the video, you have some links of the documentation that explain everything that I said. In fact, maybe with more details, because in 1 hour we don't have time to show everything. So you have documentation in different language, and you can access it also directly in our knowledge base. So guys, I think there is no question for today. So thank you for your participation. Feel free to contact us if you have any doubts after. And I wish you a good day wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much. Goodbye.